Situational versus dispositional. Up until modern times, we would say that someone was born a certain way, and that was their fate in life. Cruelly, it was our way of saying that they were less of a human being. Let me give you some examples. Either the physically or mentally impaired. What did we do? We followed this chant that would be found quite often at Trump rallies. Lock 'em up. Homosexuality. Anyone who has read Chaucer's Canterbury Tales knows this preference has been around for a long time, but our acceptance and practice have looked much different, depending on the time frame and culture in question. Depression. What was our common solution until recently? Get over it. It was only recently that we have learned that such a condition is as much physical as it is psychological. We very possibly reached our low point at the turn of the 19th century and the rise of the eugenics, which was a movement of genetically creating humans without any so-called defects. Wait, maybe that wasn't our peak. In spite of our own recent maturational regression to the mean, we have made tremendous progress in understanding the complexity of our conditions and actions. And a prime element for me along these lines concerns the concepts situational versus dispositional. Let me explain these concepts to you, how they are applied, and give you some examples of how fragile our judgments are. Let's start with that of what was our judgmental standard operating procedure, and that's dispositional. I think you know all the clichés. They were born that way. They got it from their parents. They come from that part of town. You can always expect this from those people. The idea of determination was always an easy one for us because it fits our natural tendency to put people into categories or boxes. The idea here is that by nature, we behave in a certain way, and we use this as a predictor of people. So if that's dispositional, what's situational? Here we refer to our behavior changing depending on the setting we find ourselves to be in. Here's one I see quite often with people. In a stressful situation, people start becoming very aggressive. Of course, this has never happened to me, but you knew that already, didn't you? So, are people by nature aggressive? Well, some people are, but I would like to think that most aren't. Here's another example. The more you have, the bigger the fear is that you're going to lose it. If you didn't have it to begin with, well, you wouldn't have that problem, would you? You might disagree with me on this point, but I believe the richer our societies become, the level of intolerance grows. Are we born intolerant? I'd like to think we're not. From a material perspective, do we have a lot more than we did, say, 40 years ago? Okay, let's leave the spiritual to the side. The Stanford prison experiment highlighted the concept in full force. Back in 1971, an investigation was performed to ascertain the effects of power, and the example they used was the relationship between prisoners and prison guards. Philip Zimbardo, who was the professor who conducted the experiment, recruited upper-middle-class white males in their early 20s and randomly assigned them to be prisoners or guards. It didn't take long for the participants to play the roles, and the effects of both the situational and dispositional were there for all to see. Some of the appointed guards relished in the power they received, and many of the prisoners easily took on the role of victims. The experiment was so brutal that they had to call it off after 6 days. Was the behavior of the participants universal? No. Some guards were reluctant and others relished it. The prisoner behavior wasn't universal either. One prisoner was so psychologically disturbed after 35 hours that he had to be released. Others were defiant till the end. The fact is that our behavior is being determined by both the situational and the dispositional factors, and this is normal. Our awareness of both conditional elements helps us first to understand our own behavior and hopefully use this knowledge in avoiding the incorrect judgment of others. So what does this mean for you? The next time you catch your own unwanted behavior, try changing the situation. What? You mean the unwanted behavior went away? Let's keep that in mind the next time we criticize the behavior of others. Perhaps, just perhaps, their behavior is the symptom and the situation is the cause. Thanks.